Hello. The Parsha this week, VaYechi, is unique in its beginning in terms of the way in which it is written on the parchment of the Torah scroll itself. The Torah scroll is written without any vowels. It's written without any punctuation. The only additional information that the Torah scrolls contain, other than the letters, is I guess the spaces between the letters that make words, and then the spaces between the paragraphs that are called that create parshiot, sections of scripture, and those traditions of where those parsha breaks go are quite ancient and a very important tradition alongside the actual words themselves. Any a good chumash, printed chumash, will actually replicate those divisions and put in those spacings. And a chumash that doesn't have the spacing and the pagination to actually replicate those paragraph breaks will indicate with a large letter pei or a large letter samich to indicate whether there's an open paragraph break or some other spacing to divide the text of the Torah. In any event, Parsha VaYechi is the only parsha, the only sidra, the only weekly Torah portion that continues from the portion that precedes it without any break. It's a stuma. It's just the words just flow, and all of a sudden it's a new Torah portion. Rashi comments on this and says, "Lama parsha zo stuma." Why is it closed? Okay, why does it not have the divisions that we expect in the Torah? And the answer that Rashi gives, quoting the Midrash, gives two answers. One is that Kevin Shiniftar Yaakov Avinu Nistamu Einehem V'Libam Yisrael Mitzarat HaShibur. As Yaakov dies in this week's parasha, what happens is the subjugation in Egypt begins, and the eyes and spirits of Israel began to be closed as well. Subjugation, the oppression kind of began even before the new Pharaoh arises and starts issuing decrees. Things were already changing. Think about how the brothers Yosef had to ask permission just to take their father back to Eretz Canaan for burial. Things were already beginning to change. And so there's that closing in. And the other answer that Rashi provides, again quoting the Midrash, Bikesh l'godaketz levanav v'nistam mimenu. Okay, famously, Yaakov wanted to reveal the unfolding of history to his children on his deathbed, and he didn't. Right? He says, "Come gather around, I tell you how everything ends." And what follows isn't really it's a retrospective, things about the brothers. It's not predictions, at least not fully. It doesn't seem to be predictions of what's going to happen. Whatever he gives is a little bit opaque to us. And so again, it's also alluded to in this closing up of the space. We don't have this expansive vision. Everything is getting to be a little bit closed in, a little bit claustrophobic. Yaakov's prophecy maybe is limited. He wanted to share more and couldn't. The subjugation is beginning. Our ancestors in Egypt are beginning to feel more confined and more restricted. I think that's maybe a feeling a lot of us have felt today, yesterday, this week. The news of the world is not as bright as it was even a week or two ago. And plans are being canceled, right? Things that we're looking forward to doing maybe aren't possible. And there's that. I think there's a little bit, things are closing in on us a little bit. That's sort of how I feel. Things are closing in when I used to have more optimistic hopes for, there are things I was looking forward to do in January. And I'm not sure they're going to happen now. So that feeling should be, if you share that feeling, so we have that connection, and I think that's a feeling that's very appropriate for the mood of this week's parasha, and also just as our ancestors got through the subjugation in Egypt with God's help and with faith, so too we can all get through whatever lies in our future with faith and with God's help, and with, of course, appropriate logistical, medical precautions as well. I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Hope to see you in the coming days, and hope to hear from you if I can be of assistance in any way.